Hello, folks. Got a special edition for you today. It's Boxing Day, so hope you've all had a great Christmas. We are recording this in advance, so the continuity errors might come thick and fast. You never know. But I've got Jamie and Colin with me today, who are both channel members, and we're just going to have a chat. If these guys have got some questions for me, they'll fire them over, and we're going to have a bit of a chat. Hope you enjoy it. This is something I'll hopefully do every once in a while with members, depending just how unpopular it is and just how badly behaved they are. Welcome, Jamie. Welcome, Colin. I am outnumbered, though, because you're both retired police, aren't you?
Yes.
And they don't recognise me, thankfully, apart from the YouTube videos. The rumours weren't true. But Jamie's up in Scotland. Colin, you're in Northamptonshire. And I suppose to get things kicked off, tell us about what you drive, Jamie.
Obviously, I've been a lover of cars, and I've had all the kind of petrol-head cars you would think of. I've had M Sports, I've had AMGs, R-Lines, Super S's, S-Lines. But watching videos over the last year, I came into the thinking about driving an electric car. So I drove my first electric car at work. That was a story trying to work out if it was actually turned on or not. I actually phoned from the car park downstairs at the office to one of my mates who had it the day before. I saw in the logbook to say, "How do you turn this car on?" And he just burst out laughing.
Yeah.
To say, I had the same. He says, "It is on."
Yeah.
I realised, if I touch the throttle here, this is going to move. So I drove the car, loved it. It was a bit usual, but I just loved the fact it was just constant drive. There was no lag. Anyway, long story short, I watched video after video, and actually I first came into your channel, Jim, and I know you've got a balance across your content, but I grew in towards trying an EV. I had a Mini Cooper, my wife and I had a Tiguan R-Line, which I loved, and it came up to the end of the leases, and I decided, let's go through and have a look at these Teslas. That was in August.
Yeah.
Went through with a view to looking at the Model Y, because I know they're looking at the refresh and different things. And I went in, I saw the Model 3, and I thought, oh, I've watched a few videos on it. I didn't realise it was as big as it was. So I'm a big guy. I've got two young kids and a dog. Anyway, my wife fell in love with it within seconds of seeing it, Spoke to the guy at Tesla, who was brand new, not at all pushy, obviously not on commission. He goes, "You ever driven one?" I said, "I've never driven a Tesla." Long story short, he gave us a car away for a 24-hour test drive. By the time we got it back to Edinburgh to where I live, it was, the wife wanted it. And we ended up getting one. Got one about 3 weeks later, quite quick turnaround. There was a boat arriving in Southampton from Shanghai. I got one. So I got the Model 3 standard rear-wheel drive. We got it in ultra red, got it white interior, upgraded the alloys, lovely car.
So pretty much the one I had for review then, I think.
Yeah,
was that the car I had? I can't remember now.
Yeah, it was, and the only difference was yours had the standard alloys, and the one we got was picked to the bigger alloys. It cost a wee bit in range, but 14 miles, right? So got that. I absolutely loved the car. I drove it more than the wife did at the start. And a month later, they did the cheap lease deal on the Model Y. I saw it in your channel, and I got in the back of it after a lot of hassle with Tesla, to be honest with you. But I got in the back of it and I got one. So I've got a Model Y, and she's got the Model 3.
Oh, Jamie, 2 Teslas. I like that. That's nice.
Yeah. I'm not playing games, Jim.
What about yourself, Colin?
I've had all sorts of cars, but I started leasing with a Mini Countryman.
Yeah.
At the Cooper S, which was very nice. Loved it. Had it on a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Then when that finished, I was really lucky because I took it in for its first service, and the guys who were doing the service, local, obviously Mini dealership, said, "Oh, your maintenance program's coming to an end." And I said, "Yeah, I know, it's up, the lease is up." And this was just at the back end of COVID. And they said, "Can you buy the car?" And as it happened, I took the option to buy the car. So I effectively bought the car off the lease company and sold it directly to the car dealership. However, I never changed. No money came out of my bank account. They did it straight off for me, straight to the lease company.
Right.
And yeah, I made a lot of money out of that. And at the same time, I'm very fortunate. My brother works for a company that has Volvo as one of their sort of like fleet cars, and he's allowed a couple of cars because he's management. So he said, "Would you like a Volvo?" So I've got a Volvo. Well, I had a Volvo XC40 plug-in hybrid, which was fantastic. And I'm lucky enough, we change them every 9 months.
Right.
Well, I've had 3 different XC40s, and I've now just swapped onto an XC60.
Nice. Very nice.
And,
The XC40 is great, isn't it? It's like, for the size of the car, it feels like the most rugged, most solid thing on planet Earth. It feels like you could like drive it through a brick wall almost.
Yeah, the thing I've got is that when your time comes to change your car, you get like an Excel spreadsheet of all the available vehicles. So you're a bit limited sometimes in the choice when your 9 months comes up to change.
Yeah.
And the past few occasions, there haven't been any more plug-ins or electric vehicles to choose from. So my last 2 XC40s were both mild hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really feel like I got the range out of those.
Yeah.
And then this time when they came up, there was virtually none on the scheme, but there were a lot of XC60s and XC90s, which are all about the same price. I thought the 90 was a bit big, so I went for a top of the range XC60. I thought, why not? Let's give it a go. Yeah, lovely car. The only thing is, I do think the XC40's got a nice design to it.
Yeah.
The XC60 and the XC90s are looking a bit old now, perhaps.
Yeah.
Which is why the EX90 I think looks really, really nice. And of course the EX30 is a nice car.
Yeah.
In the job I've driven both of them. So, well, not the 90, but the EX30 I've driven quite a few times.
Yeah, because you're probably one of the few people that drives as many cars as me. Well, you drive a lot more cars than me, I'd imagine.
I've probably just, oh, crikey. The company I work for do loads of different brands, so I'm very, very fortunate. I mean, I delivered an Audi today, an Q5, which was a nice car.
Yeah.
I find Audis, to be honest, a bit bland after you've driven. I just think they look a bit bland, but yeah, very capable cars. But out of all the cars I drive, certainly comfort-wise, seat-wise, Volvo.
Yeah. Oh, the best seats in the business.
Any car I've ever driven. That those Range Rovers and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No arguments from me on that one. That's for sure. Yeah. Best seats in the business, bar none. Yeah. So are you tempted by electric yet, or do you find it a pain in the backside because you're delivering cars all over the country?
I love electric cars. Yeah. They really don't. I mean, now they've opened these Tesla superchargers up to the public. I used my first one properly in anger the other day. I had to take a car up to Leeds.
Yeah.
I didn't start off on the full charge. And when I got to Leeds, it was 18%. Plugged it in on the supercharger at Leeds, and probably took about 22 minutes, and this car was up to 85%.
Yeah.
Good. Cost a few quid, mine, but
of course.
And I appreciate, yes, you can get memberships and have cheaper rates and cheaper deals, but I never know what car I'm driving. So pay $7.99 a month to Tesla doesn't really count. And at the end of the day, my company pays for all my expenses anyway. So
so
I'm not out of pocket.
Yeah. That's the thing, and is the rate of charge. The Tesla superchargers, I mean, because I've got a charger at home, if I'm doing a long journey, I always leave with 100%.
Yeah.
And, I've had my Tesla now for 15 or 16 months, and I've probably supercharged it maybe 6 times now. And one of those was on the way to the airport when I just went over to LA to do the auto show.
Yeah.
And I think we got to the service station. It was like 4 a.m. It was minus, I don't know what. We got to the service station on like 80%, and obviously 80 plus, it's supposed to be slow charging.
Yeah.
Walked in the service station, went to the loo, queuing up for a coffee, and I got a message saying you need to be back at the car in 4 minutes because it's going to be at 100%. And, it's probably, I would guess 10 minutes, it went from 80 to 100, which is obviously supposedly supposed to take the longest time you can imagine. But I had preconditioned the battery before we got there, which obviously helped.
Yeah.
But immediately it went up to like 500 miles an hour in the charging. And this is the one of the things that people constantly get on about in the comments that, are massively anti-EV. And I know I've said it before and I've said it a million times, but I'm not like an EV evangelist. I don't think everyone should get an EV, but they work brilliantly well for me. But I think a lot of the reasons people don't want an EV are because of nonsense that they've read or seen on YouTube from like the anti-EV brigade and the anti-EV lobby. So it's...
I couldn't agree more, Tim. For me, I'm a bit of a YouTube geek. Started off with fly fishing videos and then moved into motoring, to be honest with you. I spend all my time on YouTube, right? And I have unsubscribed to so many people recently, who they've just became moon howlers, right? So I own two EVs now, right? But I intentionally don't act like an EV salesman when I speak to my friends. So why take an EV? You used to have all these petrol cars and high. So, and I explained to them, well, actually, I'm not an eco warrior, right? I'm like yourself, Jim. I'm very balanced. I'm apolitical, right? I have an opinion on things, but I wasn't driven by politics. I was driven by finance.
Yeah, exactly the same for me. It was a financial decision for me.
Like how they drove. After I drove that first one at work, I didn't appreciate, the acceleration, how it felt, the tech on them. So for me, and I won't say who they are, but we are people who watch YouTube know who they are. They're people driving political agendas here, and you're howling at the moon in respect of EVs and anti-EVs. Now, there are evangelists on the other side who...
Oh, completely. Absolutely.
Equally as bad, but I think people just need to give it a fair go, and they need to drive one. So if you will have watched it, Jim Farley's video, right? Where he took to do his road trip.
Yeah.
Right? And his F-150 Lightning, his EV, and how they drive. And so he was the eternal petrol head, right? And you just got to watch that. I think if everybody actually drove one, the ZEV mandate has got a big thing. People don't like getting told what to do. That's human nature.
I'll tell you what, I love that in that Jim Farley thing, though, where he says that he's been driving an Xpeng and he thought it was absolutely brilliant. And I thought, this is the CEO of Ford. I thought it was pretty amazing, really. I think sort of big respect to him for...
Totally. It came across really, really good. It came across really human, really balanced.
Yeah.
He didn't speak corporate speak. He spoke, that video was just a normal guy talking about driving and loving cars. Now, you could have a whole video, Jim, on Ford and Ford's recent approach to cars in the UK particularly, but I was quite refreshed by that video.
Yeah, same here. I was really surprised, actually. I thought it was going to be like, the normal stuffed shirt, and they say, our new cars are going to be based on the aesthetics of a Puma because it's sleek and efficient, and all the absolute BS that sometimes have to listen to at a car launch or something. But I just thought he seemed like a fairly normal fella who was...
He did. And I wish there was more balance across it. But I get people are chasing subscribers and people push their agendas because people follow them who have a similar political view or agenda. And I read some of the comments just to get a laugh, to be honest with you. They are howling at the moon. They really are.
I think it's one of the downsides now of, YouTube and the news and everything else is that people don't get balance anymore. They find someone who's got their same point of view and they just listen to more of it, and you just get this echo chamber of, and people just want to hear that their way is the right way, and there's no balance to anything, and it just annoys me. I mean, I can see why some of them do it, and some of them, I'm sure it's their genuine belief, and I'm sure on both sides, and I'm sure some of them are just doing it for views, because some of the guys that are the most vocal against it are getting massive amounts of views, and you don't get paid a lot by YouTube for your views unless you're getting a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I look at some of those guys and think, well, I'd happily have that number of views, but
yeah, but you're not
say something I don't believe.
You know what I mean? You've got principles about and ensure a bit of balance. You're not spending 130 grand on an EV to knock out videos every 10 minutes criticising it. So it's just hilarious, you know, but they're earning for it. Well, I don't know how much you earn from YouTube. I've got a rough idea, but you're right. They're getting lots of views, lots of subscribers, and clearly making a living out of it.
If you're earning £1,000 every time you put a video out saying how much you hate your £100,000 car, well, you only need to put 100 of them out, don't you?
Exactly. What I know, and people don't see that. I actually wrote a comment to one of them, and I instantly regretted even taking the bait, you know, and I've never done it again. And I thought, is it not obvious to people what is happening?
Do you know, the funny thing is, there was a video that really wound me up, and it was a road trip thing, and it just wound me up, and I gave some sort of response to it in I think one of my news videos or something, and that video that wound me up, I reckon made 2 or 3 grand, and my video made like 30 quid.
Oh, not right.
And I didn't feel particularly good. I don't like slagging anyone off, and at the end of the day, it's their business, their opinion, whatever it is. It's completely up to them, and if that's what they want to do, go for it. You know, I don't judge. I'm just not going to do the same thing. I should have less principles and less for mortgage. I don't know.
No, don't lower yourself.
Yeah, I need to get to Turkey to get my hair sorted out. So. I hate EV's video coming next week.
So that's some idea for content. I like you thinking out the box, mate.
I know. So I could do drive an EV to Turkey.
We're gonna get cosmetic surgery next. What's that channel going to be called?
Definitely not bald.
Not bald.
Yeah, definitely not fat. I don't know. Right. Any questions for me from either of you?
How many different car launches and stuff do you actually get to go to?
Not that many actually, but I'm very much on the sort of C list with a lot of companies, and I'm not even on the list for some of them. It's really weird, because I had a day, probably a couple of years ago now, where the Polestar 1 was being backed out of a trailer onto my drive, and it was one of, I don't know, a handful in the country. I think Matt Watson had it like a week or 2 weeks before me or something, and this is backing out, and I'm thinking, oh, this is nice. And at the same time, I got an email from Dacia saying that they wouldn't lend me any cars. But yeah, it's very, very odd. Like, I go on launches now for BMW and Mini, and I mean, I must admit, I've been on 2, and I've had real imposter syndrome on both, because in my mind, I'm still managing director of an insurance company, and I don't really know what I'm doing with this kind of stuff. And I turn up, and the Mini Cooper electric one, I walked in the door there. First person I saw was Robert Llewellyn. The next one was Vicky Butler Henderson, and the third one was Harry Metcalf. And I just went over to the guy from Mini and I said, "What am I doing here?" So I go to a few, but I've once been invited to an international one, which was a very small company, that have made like a micro car, and that was over in Spain, and it clashed with a holiday, I think, that we were going on, so I couldn't go. But I've never been on any of the others, and to be honest, like the car reviews are a really small part of what I do, and I enjoy doing them, and I enjoy driving all the different cars, but really I enjoy doing them because it allows me to talk about the cars more in the leasing videos and the other videos I do with some degree of experience, like I've had it, you know, rather than just saying, oh, this looks good.
So with the press car, the press cars you get, do you have to put your name down for them to say, can I have one? Or how does that work then?
Yeah, so occasionally they'll approach me and say, would you like one of these for review? But usually I would just get in touch with whoever my contact is in the PR department at that company and say, could I have one of these, please? And then they sort out a date. They drop them off to you. Usually they're driven down. I then drop the driver back at the station, and then a week later I'll go and pick a driver up from the station, come back to mine, and then they'll go off in the car. And lots of companies give me cars, so but I've always got like access to cars whenever I want to get one in, really. And I try to get cars in that I think people watching my channel will have an interest in.
Yeah.
So I'm often not getting the most exciting cars, because like when I went to that BMW launch, I could have been in the X5M that day or the X3M, but instead I took the 1 Series because I feel like more people watching my channel would be interested in the 1 Series than, you know, £100,000 worth of SUV potentially. So yeah, that I try to sort of do it that way. But there are loads of companies still that don't give me anything, and some don't even send a response. I mean, like Stellantis, I've had one car from DS. I don't think anyone else has ever offered me one.
I was going to ask you that's a very similar question to Colin asked there about the politics behind the press cars.
Uh-huh.
Does it go on your subs? Does it go, you know, is there pressure from these companies in respect of if you give us a slightly negative review, you'll never get any more cars? You know, what is the kind of background to it?
So I know people that do reviews that don't feel like they can ever say anything bad, and I always say everything bad, but I say it in quite a nice way. So I wouldn't get a car and say this is shit. What I'll say is this could be better. This is not very good. Or I don't know why they haven't done this or something like that. But I won't then put the boot in as well. I've never ever had a phone call from anyone afterwards to say, why have you said this? I've never had a phone call to say you didn't mention this and why haven't you? And a lot of people think we get paid to do them. I certainly don't, and I've never heard of anyone being paid. I'm sure it happens, but not with the likes of me. I just think don't be rude. I mean, if you saw my reviews of the 𝐾GM Torres, probably my least favourite car that I've driven this year. Both variants of it I thought were poor, and 𝐾GM have just invited me to a launch in January. And most companies are like that. They want you to put out something that's authentic. I think that's probably why the ones that lend me cars, because I think in this day and age, people can see through BS. If it was a bit almost scripted, I don't know if people would take any notice of it. It must be difficult for the guys like at the big car magazines that get them in for review, because that same company that's lent them a car for review might be paying them £100,000 a month in advertising money.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's strange, but I feel like when I get a car in for review, I've got license to say what I want about it, but I wouldn't be rude about it because I don't think it's right when they've lent you a car.
No, definitely. I think you're right. You always have to be constructive. You know, and you can be careful with your wording and still do an honest review. So
yeah,
that's what we are channel.
There are a lot of scripted reviews, though, aren't there? When you watch some of these people are on all time, always follows exactly the same.
Yeah, but a lot of them, you're watching a presenter and they've got a team of 7 or 8 people that have actually put the review together. And then there's obviously a director that's making everything happen. There's an editor, and sometimes they keep coming back to do voiceover for bits. So that there's quite a difference there. Like Nicola, when Nicola was doing, God, what was she doing? Car Buyer. My pal Alex did an interview with her, and she was saying, like, the review really is a group of people's input. She's got some input, but there are a load of journos as well sitting in the background, putting the review together. And then, I mean, she's an amazing presenter, and she's now doing loads of work with Red Bull and all sorts, but she puts her spin on it for the video. There's that side of things where mine, I mean, I don't script anything ever. I literally just write down a few notes. So you'll often see in my reviews, I've got a little notepad or something, and I might even, no, I haven't got one here. But there'll just be, it's back of a fag packet kind of stuff, really. It's the 0 to 60 time, the MPG, so sort of the key numbers. And then anything that I've felt during the week, I might just write down brakes poor, or issues with if something doesn't work intermittently or something like that. And then I literally press record on the camera, and the little test drive sequence, which is probably usually 10 or 15 minutes in my videos, like maximum. Sometimes that's 2 hours of me waffling and falling over my words, and which is whenever there's a tell in my videos, when you see a shot of me like this, and then in the next second it cuts to me like this, I've cut something out there, and rather than like that happening, I'd rather bring the shot in and out.
The other presenter who always seems to have a notebook in front of him is Johnny Smith.
Johnny, yeah.
He does the same thing, and quite happy just stand there and say, hang on a minute, we'll read through his... There's nothing wrong with that.
He's a bit better at it than me, to be fair.
He's not trying to put a stick up an exhaust pipe.
I was going to ask you, mate, and I think I know the answer to the question, but I'm going to ask you just to see what you... So, what's your favourite car that you've reviewed this year?
𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁 5N.
That's what I've written down. I thought, mate, that video, even the tone and how that video was presented, you could hear the excitement in your voice.
Do you know what? I think the first time I took that out at home, and I wasn't driving crazy or anything, officers, I almost got choked up. It's just such an amazing piece of kit. And I think it's like one of those, almost like a generational car. I think that's one in years to come. I don't know if it'll be a classic in 20 years, because, you know, the range is not amazing on it. And probably by then there'll be another version of the car, or something else will come out that does a lot of the same things with loads more range and more everything. But it just felt like such a groundbreaking thing. The gear thing, everyone, even friends of mine, you know, would say, oh, it's a gimmick, and going on about it, and they're saying, oh, will you shut up about this car? It can't be that good. And then you just literally, by the end of my road, they've just got a big grin on their face, and it doesn't come off. And then the next thing they say is, how much is it? Yeah. And with all the cars I've had, and all the times I've taken out one of my friends in it, or we've picked them up and we're going somewhere, when someone says to you, how much is one of these? That's when you know that they're interested. And 100% of people that got in that car asked me that question, and lots of people got in that car. A couple of people just knocked on the door that happened to be passing by. I did. Funnily enough, this is a funny story. I think when I'd been doing the reviews for about 3 or 4 months, I think I had my first Genesis on the drive. I'd probably been doing it a bit longer than that, but I had my first Genesis on the drive, and the doorbell went one day, and I went down, and there's some old man at my door, and I said, "Oh, hello," and he said, "I need to ask you a question," and I said, "Okay, go for it," and he said, "Why do you have so many new cars?" are you a millionaire? And I said, yeah, I'm a very eccentric millionaire, actually. And he goes, oh. And I said, oh, no, I review cars. And he said, whatever for? And I said, well, I do them for videos. And anyway, and just walked off. There you go. That was queer as folk.
Totally.
Anyway, what was the question?
I just asked what was your favourite review, mate.
Oh, there you
I knew
go.
the answer. I could, as I say, all your from that video, you could actually hear in your voice.
Yeah.
The first time I think I saw you driving one was it the boy Tom Shorrock, the guy you did the road trip with. He was like sick all the time, you know, because he. And then you later reviewed it properly. So no, it looked,
Yeah. So when we finished that at Millbrook, I pulled over to just take a couple of pictures of the outside of the car, and Tom literally got out and stood next to the car like this. Ooh. And I would say he didn't move from that position for 20 minutes. And it was a good hour before he was back in the land of the living. And someone from Hyundai sent me a message the next day and said, congratulations for giving us the most unwell looking passenger of the day. So I was quite proud of that.
I think the first time I saw it, it went round the Nürburgring, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mika.
Yeah. Misha, yeah.
It's the only EV that's managed to do 2 complete laps at full speed, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Not that it had too much power left at the end, I don't think. But
no, lovely car. I mean, I've got my eye on one of these Rivians.
oh yeah, great.
They're supposed to be coming to Europe next year, I think.
Yep.
And they're bringing out a smaller version of the. I mean, was there any at his show you went to?
Yeah, so Rivian weren't actually there, which was slightly weird, but I think they had them in. There was like a test drive area outside. I just didn't go to it because of time and everything, and the fact that I hadn't slept for 3 days at that point, and had to go and edit a massive video. Sorry, it's my sob story. But inside the show, there was a company called Overland. I don't know if you've seen them before, but they take like standard production vehicles, and I think it's a magazine actually. On their stand, they have lots of different companies that take production vehicles and turn them into sort of crazy, extreme outdoor pursuits type vehicles.
Yeah.
So there was one in the video. I walked in the back, and it's a Ford F550 truck with basically a mobile home built onto the truck bed, but quite luxurious for that kind of thing. So you've got like a camper van that can go up the side of a mountain, and it's that kind of idea and the extreme camping kind of things. And there were a couple of Rivians there, and I don't know if you've ever seen it on the pickup where there's that kind of, I don't know what you call it, a luggage compartment or something in the side of the body just behind the rear doors.
Yeah.
And you there's like pull-out barbecue you can get for that, like pull-out kitchen and all kinds of weird and wonderful things. But they look really cool. I saw loads of them on the road in LA, and lots of the SUVs as well, not just the pickups. Saw quite a few Cybertrucks on the road as well, actually.
Oh, right.
Which still look bizarre.
Yeah, they don't.
I saw a bit of content coming out from another big YouTuber in respect of trying to get the first UK legal Cybertruck through testing.
Oh, really?
You've seen it? I don't know if you've seen it, but you just have a look. You'll see it. I've watched a couple of videos he's put out. It came in via Albania, so it gets shipped from America to. What is it again?
Went to Italy first of all, didn't it?
Yeah, went to Italy, and then it came into Albania. There's an Albanian theme to this. But again, I've got an open mind on that as well. So it came in from Albania into the UK, and this YouTuber's done a deal. He's bought it, he says, if it gets through testing, and they're doing all the mods to convert it so it becomes UK legal. So there's about 2 or 3 videos out on it, Jim. It's actually quite
Who is it?
entertaining. Yanni.
Oh, Yanni. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Yanni. Yep.
Right. I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen that.
It's interesting. So There's been there was another advert. Somebody else was advertising the first UK. So he's on his channel. He phones the person, what to buy this cyber truck because it's the first one. The guy says, "Oh, actually, we couldn't get it through testing, and it's not for sale. It's been shipped elsewhere, back to Europe or something like that." But I think he's hoping for a weekend in niche in the market in respect of this Albanian contact he has with the view if they can get the first one.
The reports, yeah.
Yeah, and then look at, because know yourself, there will be demand initially for them. There would be. And there's obviously money in it.
I'm guessing it's going to have a different front bumper, is it, or something, or some kind?
No, so the main mods look at the issue to the lights, right?
Yeah.
How they're getting round the sharp edges is basically a rubber piping, effectively. Now, it does look okay. It's done professionally, and it does look okay, but that's how they're getting round that, just taking away those sharp edges with the rubber.
They really are sharp.
Oh, aye.
Yeah, they had some bloke from a hotel kicking it, didn't they? Because he said you can't dent it.
Well, I've watched 2-3 videos. There must have been 40 people have kicked it that I've seen.
Yeah.
The wee Albanian guy would do that keen at the start, but he obviously thought it was a bit of a gimmick and a bit of a thing for the video. So I know I had a kick at it, but certainly one of the videos the police stopped it. But he's obviously got time with the import. You get, is it 3 months, or you get so long to make it road legal before it has to then stay permanently and pass the test, or it has to then leave the UK. So the police certainly have stopped it at least once on the video to inquire how.
He would take it to a local Tesco's and someone would put a trolley dink in it.
Yeah. Oh, let's hope he hasn't got a curb finder at home. That would be bad.
Good luck with the curbs. They're big wheels.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, they had that they had the robo taxi or the cyber cab or whatever you want to call it at the show, and the wheels on that thing were ginormous, as were the wheel trims. But it's weird that that's only a 2-seater. But there we go.
It's fun.
Nah, they did all that work in respect of like 94% of journeys in a taxi are not more than 2 people, and so they've got stats to back it up. If it's going to be as cheap as they say it is, and there's 4 of you, you would just book through them, you know. But certainly, Elon Musk is certainly driving stuff forward. Whether or not it kicks on, I know they've got them. I think they have them in LA. A different company have them.
Waymo have got which they're bizarre because it's a Jaguar I-Pace with about 1 million cameras just bolted to it. They look like, I don't know. They look like someone's bought a load of stuff from Temu and just stuck it on the car. But it's bizarre because you're sitting opposite one of the traffic lights, and then you see like the wheel turning them. There's no one in there, and it just drives off. And there are loads of them going around in LA. I think Dennis had the idea just as we left LA. My mate Dennis had the idea just as we left LA, that we should have actually just ordered one and gone around the block in it and made a video. And I thought that was genius. Unfortunately, he had it about 6 hours too late. But yeah, the story.
There's a really funny video that somebody's put out, and it's a whole lot of pure unfortunate people live in flats or apartments that overlook the depot. So when all these taxis come in at night, they've got this similar to Elon Musk said, they've got the chargers that they either drive over and it charges remotely, or they charge into it. Anyway, they're programmed for a horn warning at a certain distance, right? So much so they were all up in arms, like they were coming in at the end of their shifts, and it was just constant horn as they were all manoeuvring in the yard to their chargers that they're all so close together. So they've had to disable the horn when they come into the yard, effectively, to program whatever they do. But it was hilarious. I thought, how unlucky could that be? You lived there for years, then all of a sudden at 3 a.m, every morning, you get 400 horn warnings.
Yeah, it's amazing. What you get on the MG ones are, I'm not supporting the Chinese government because they murder people. Yeah. And I always think, well, I bet you buy petrol for your car.
Yeah. Your iPhone,
and I bet
people looked at their house and the tech in their house and the everyday tech they use, exactly. Yeah, they drive all of that.
Where this was built, they have suicide nets because it's so unpleasant to work there. And that's the fact of the matter, unfortunately. And yeah, a lot of us are hypocrites, and they're often making that comment on a Chinese device because, you know, they're probably watching it on a Chinese TV.
Most of the batteries are made there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to
Everything is, isn't it?
yeah, well, I got to drive in those 𝙼𝙁𝙁𝙄𝙇𝙄𝑇 the other day.
Oh yeah.
Interesting car for a price point.
Yeah. What were you impressed or not? I haven't actually driven one yet, but I've poked around in several.
It's certainly another car that's built to a price limit. You get a lot for your money.
Mm.
You don't necessarily get the range you want, but I guess that will come in time. It's a big car.
Yeah.
Lots of what people would determine as scratchy hard stuff. But I mean, you get heated seats, heated steering wheel. You get all the stuff you expect, your cruise control, your lane assist and all, everything else. But it's definitely built to a... And the one thing that tickled me was it wanted to do an update. And the inbuilt SIM card's 2G.
Oh, wow. That's brilliant. 2G.
You know, it was the last time we saw 2G. Well, no, there'll be a lot of the MGs. In another year's time, they'll take off.
That's the thing, because when you look at like so I still think the best MG is the MG5. It's the one that they're now stopping, and it's not going to be replaced. There'll just be another SUV. And I still think that's the best car they've made. But if you look at the first generation of it and the second, I mean, there's, from the outside, it's a mild facelift kind of thing, but the build quality feels so much better. And then this HS, I thought the original HS was actually quite impressive for the money, although it, you know, is definitely not a perfect car. But this new one feels like they've come on years, and I think the only other, they feel like they're going really in the right direction with that brand, I think, and no one is really serving the sort of cheaper end of the market with real quality. And what you're finding is companies like Dacia are creeping the prices up, and the quality's not really any better. And I think people that generally drive a Dacia are the sort of people that like to say, I've got the best car in the world because it was cheap.
Yeah, so cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always say cheap doesn't equal value, and I feel like MG are getting it right, or certainly doing a lot more towards it than some of the other cheaper brands.
Is it, do you think, in a couple of years, the resale values that determine how good people think cars are? Because I mean, things like the Dacias and that you can buy for 14,000 upwards. The retail value on a 2-year-old one's not particularly high, is it?
No.
What's the resale value on these MGs?
And when you think a few years, not too long ago, you could get a Dacia for $7,500.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, you could get a stepway or something, couldn't you?
Yeah. I don't know with the MGs, but we'll have to wait and see, I suppose. But if you start low enough, it does. I suppose there comes a point when it doesn't matter so much.
Well, they've probably attracted more people into the EV market.
And I think they were quite canny as well, because obviously it's Chinese company, but they bought a familiar name badge rather than come into the UK as, God, take your pick. Yeah, a Moda, JQ or whatever, or Yang Wang, you know, as we've got on the horizon.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, MG, and there are so many of those famous old brands that are not being used, that are potentially up for grabs, you know. I'm not sure if TVR's alive at the moment. Austin, Rover, you know, there are names aplenty out there that are not being used that still have a warm place in people's hearts. Now, everyone goes potty at first, you know. It's not an MG, it's Chinese, but I think it's fairly canny from them from a marketing point of view.
Yeah, I'll go along with that.
What about, I was going to ask you a question, mate.
Yeah.
We're over time if you want to just...
No, you're right.
Aye. So I was asking, you obviously did that wee collab with 𝙇𝙄𝙉𝙁𝙄𝙁 Solar.
Yeah.
So I'm a typical Scotsman out trying to save a penny. So having two EVs now myself, I thought, I might look at that. And then the Tesla Powerwall scenario, that's another question. I'm going to ask my local Tesla garage next time I'm popping in, because I've got to pop in because my Model Y thinks I'm in Holland. I've done everything I can local to try and get it to that I'm in the UK, but all my adverts on Spotify are in Dutch.
Wow.
All my adverts on YouTube are in Dutch, and I can't watch my Netflix because it thinks I'm in Holland. So anyway, I'm going to pop into Tesla to try and find out about that. But I'm going to ask them about referral credits. Can you use them to buy a Powerwall? Because
I would guess you probably can,
yeah,
but because you can buy, I think as long as it's new, you can buy pretty much anything with them.
Yeah. I don't.
I've got a load now, by the way, because those last couple of videos have done quite well, but you can only use them off a new product. So
Yeah.
I was actually looking the other day and thinking, well, could I sell my Model Y and buy a new one with my credits? I could probably lease one now, but I don't think they'd give me the money for the credits off the lease.
You offer a deposit?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You might do that on a lease.
Yeah, so I might even have a chat with their PR department and see if they'll do me a favour or something.
So I was going to ask that question. So I've looked into it because you know yourself. So your videos, Jim, because you're a staff content, you've got EV content, and the adverts pop up about solar stuff, right? And I always just like skip, ignore. And eventually once I thought, I'm going to click on that link. So I clicked on that link. It was I'm still in work mode, still wake up at 5 in the morning. So I must have clicked on the link about 5:30 in the morning. 2 hours later, there's a guy sitting in my living room, right? Trying to sell me solar. He's a lovely guy and he had all these facts and figures. And anyway, I was just interested in prices because I'd done a wee bit of research after watching the guy who does solar stuff, and they reckon 10 years to break even, depending on how much. So I had a rough idea. I'm a guy in my early 50s. I'm thinking, you don't know what's from the corner, you know. I'm thinking, I'm interested in it, you know. So the guy came out and told me wee bits and bobs, and I learned a little bit from him. But I was thinking, if I could get one of those Powerwalls with some of those referral credits, you know, even if you don't go for the solar panels and you just charge at night. So thanks to you, Tim. I jumped on Octopus when I got the EVs, and you know, so that's something I might look at. And I know there's a lot of YouTubers have done it. Might just be for content, to be honest with you, because it's a theme of content. But it's something I'm going to look into in the new year.
If you're serious about it as well, I mean, Gary's channel is brilliant, and the guy's an encyclopedia. He's also a really, really lovely bloke, and he does those. You know, I do the thing where you can pay and have a call with me, and I had one today actually, and the guy was, it was a nightmare scenario for him, but hopefully I've helped him out. But Gary does those, and he is an absolute encyclopedia, and well worth a chat. And he's a really lovely fellow. And although I shouldn't say all this because he's got, I think, as many subscribers as me or more, and he's made about 50 videos, and I've made like 260 this year. So there you go. I don't like popular people.
That's because you've been promoting his channel, Jim.
That's why. Obviously.
So that's why, because everything subbed to you is just subbed to him because you're in collaboration. They like you, so they now like him.
Clearly.
It's on you, mate.
Obviously. Yeah. I wouldn't say that myself, but as you've said it, I'll accept that. Yeah.
Well, just out of interest, what is the sort of like general figure now if you want an EV charging point fitted up?
About £1,000.
Yeah.
I get one put in August, Colin. So I went with the Tesla one, not from Tesla. I just bought it on Amazon because I could pay up over 4 months or 5 months, whatever. So although I could have now got the one with my referral credits that I have for, because the wife, obviously, I referred the wife and I got the credit for that. So it was $475 for the actual charger, and a local electrician came out, had a couple of quotes, and they were all about $350. So just under $1,000 effectively. So yes, you're saving massive amounts. You're when you're charging against fuel, but you have to offset that against, you have to pay for the charger for the home charging. So you're probably a year to break even. But as I said to the wife, getting 2 EVs, you become 6 months to break even. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I did a bit of work on that Octopus app the other day there, which is brilliant as well.
Mm.
And you can work out to the penny what it's cost you. You know, because I've only, like you, Jim, I've only had EVs for 4 months. I've only used a supercharger once.
Yep.
I charged at home on 7p kilowatt hour, cheap rate overnight, and you run them calling it pennies. I think of what I paid in petrol or diesel over the years.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you look and you're going from, I don't know, say you're going from 25% to 100%, and it's costing you £3, or you go to a public charger and it's 35 quid. I mean, you want to charge at home as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say I was really impressed with how it use a lot of different public charge in my job. But I have to say the Tesla one was so easy to use. For a non-Tesla user.
Yeah.
You download exactly the same app as yourselves, but it says, have you got a Tesla? No, you haven't. Set up your bank card, your usual details. You arrive at a Tesla public charger, open the app, it says, are you here? You say, yes, I am. Which point are you using? I'm using this one. Plug it in. And literally you plug it in, communicating. And then you can see on your phone how much it's costing you, how much charge is going in. And then you can either stop it with the car or stop it on the app.
See, when you've got a Tesla, not only do you get it a bit cheaper, but you literally back up to the thing, pull the charging cable out. It's got a touchy haptic thing on it. Press that and your flap opens up. You plug it in and essentially bugger off. You don't do anything on the app. And it just does it, which I think's fantastic. Like it's such a nice piece of design. And then you go to one of those bloody pod point ones and you need to get the app and then you need to send in a blood sample. You need to get a reference from your PE teacher, you know, and you just think, it doesn't need to be this difficult. But I know that there are new standards coming in and things now, and they're all going to have contactless. Yeah. So hopefully that.
I mean, as well, isn't there? Some of the cars are going to be able to talk to the chargers, just like the Teslas do.
Yeah.
They'll just communicate between themselves, and away you go, and you'll have a separate charging account through your car as opposed to through the 𝑖𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙄𝙇𝙄𝑼𝙏 server, whichever we're using at the time. So,
and if that also then tells you, if they can do that, you think they can also do the thing that Tesla does, which if you I'd say I'm going to go and visit the site at Banbury or something, and I'm half an hour away, the Tesla might pop up and say, actually, there's not a Tesla one at Banbury, I don't think. It shows you how much I use them. The car might pop up and say, this one's particularly full at the moment. Do you want me to redirect you to another one? I've had that once at one at Mansfield. We were getting close and it said there are currently only 2 bays available. Do you want to go to the next one on your journey? Because you will have enough power to get there, kind of thing. And I said, no, I'm still going to go to that one.
Yeah.
And turned up and I had the last available one, and that was like 80% of charge in 20-something minutes, which I thought was incredible. It was actually annoying because it charged too quickly, because we were off going around the shops, and I got the thing and I had to go back to the car, so it was a pain, so I had to go and move it.
Well, when I charged this one up at Leeds the other day, the superchargers were actually outside a Tesla dealership.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they were obviously charging some of their own cars. And there was myself and there was another Mercedes-Benz chap turned up and we were charging. But you're literally there, and obviously I was there longer because my car was so low. But the other Teslas were coming and going 8 minutes, perhaps.
Yeah.
They were literally backing in and just sitting there reading the paper swing and then driving off again. There was nothing else to do. You couldn't go off around the shops.
Yeah.
They were literally 10 minutes. It was very quick, and it just...
That's how you should do it, though, because we know yourself, if you're charging them from 20 to 80, it's really, really fast. It's the last, that depending on your battery, it's the last 20%. So that's what they say you should do. You should just charge for your journey. And then obviously if you've got a charger at home, you're not going to pay 39 pence or 49 pence. You're going to go home and pay 7 pence for
So
whatever, you know.
you chaps rather, do you run your cars down to 20, 30%, or do you do what they call grazing? And if you have the opportunity to top up somewhere, you top up?
I personally, I graze. So whenever I stop for a wee, which is quite regularly, I just plug the car in, and that's the end of that.
Yeah.
You do the same, Jamie?
So I haven't done any big long. I've only used one supercharger, Colin, in 4 months. But I'm about to start doing a few road trips. I will be doing that. One other thing I will say, so the superchargers are brilliant, and that's one of the massive selling points of Tesla is the supercharger network, right? For all the reasons that you've both mentioned. Scotland, we've got really good on the main arterial routes from coming right through M6 on to 74, and right up. You've got lots of options coming up there. Even you go up to Perth, options, Dundee, Aviemore, Inverness options. It's when you branch off. So I've got a lot of friends living Dumfries and Galloway in areas of Ayrshire. There's no superchargers.
Yeah.
Right, so you're then stuck with GridServe. You're then stuck with Ionity and all the hassles that come with that and the cost of it as well. So I'm hoping, and I'm sure it will pull through. I'm hoping that Tesla effectively spread out that network through Scotland, certainly.
Yeah.
We've got our fourth wheelers here. Liam, how are you?
I finally made it, mate. Sorry, I'm at work, so I've been a little bit busy.
Don't worry, not a problem. We've got
Nice to meet you anyway.
Yeah, you too. We've got Jamie and Colin on as well.
Well,
So
How you going? All right?
yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Literally just about to wrap up before this one's going to go out on Boxing Day, and we're going to wrap it up in a minute, but stay on and we'll have a chat by all means. But Colin and Jamie are both ex-policemen, and someone else was supposed to be on this call tonight, and I feel like this is a good time to mention it because it's Christmas and we've got New Year coming up. And the reason he's not on the call tonight is that he got hit by a drunk driver. It was in his friend's car, and he's a mate of mine actually, and he's watched the channel since the early days. So big shout out to Matteo. But he was in his mate's brand new car, 74 plate, and someone's come around the corner, smashed into them at speed, broken bones for all involved, but a strong message that it could have been a lot worse as well. And I'm sure Colin and Jamie, you've seen enough of that. Someone I used to work with was killed by a drink driver at 19 years old. I've got absolutely no time for it. But yeah, I actually, by the time this comes out, I will have put a little short video out already, which is going out basically Christmas party Friday kind of thing. The message to anyone watching it is don't. So that seems like a good place to end the video. Sorry to bring everyone down on Boxing Day. This is Boxing Day, Liam, if you hadn't realised. All right.
Oh, yeah, mate. Whatever, mate. I don't know whether I'm coming or going after what you just said.
So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed a few blokes rambling, and hopefully we'll do it again at some point. But thanks ever so much for watching. Thanks to you guys for joining in, and thanks for the membership.
Well, that was quick.
Huge thanks to all my channel members for your continued support. I really do appreciate it.